Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 20th edition of Marvel Monday. This is week 20 of our streaming slog in isolation, and we're back, and it's a marvelous Monday for a lot of reasons. First, it's Marvel Monday. We're playing Marvel Champions, which I'm really excited about. Second is that over the weekend, Gen Con happened online, and Fantasy Flight Games dropped a bomb of previews from the upcoming
A lot of new cards. A lot of new cards.
So that's what we're covering here. The next reason that today is a marvelous Monday is that we beat Wrecking Crew Heroic last week.
Man, that
we
felt
literally
good.
never have to see them ever again if we don't want to. Steven doesn't want to. So that's over. So today we have a new challenge. After we talk about all the things that were previewed from Gen Con this weekend, we're going to be cutting the stream, coming back, and we're going to be playing against the last scenario currently in the game that we have not played and beaten on Heroic, which is the hostile takeover.
And I'm not getting down. I'm not going down this train either. I'm not doing it.
One and done.
We'll try it once.
We're gonna do it
if
once.
we fail, you know what? Good.
At the intro of that video too, I don't really have a deck yet. I'm interested in playing Black Widow. I haven't really had the chance, so I'll be building a deck and then we'll be diving in, hopefully beating it. But also,
I'm sticking with Thor.
Excitingly, we are. Yeah, you got to stick on Thor.
You gotta stick with Thor. Super fun.
We're also we're going to add the Ronin set. So Fantasy Flight released a print and play modular set.
Yes.
And he's this crazy, awesome minion. He's super powerful. So we'll be playing against that with some heroes on a scenario. Hopefully we can actually beat it today. But it's a super exciting time. I saw someone on chat before we jumped in saying that with everything revealed and with the next, they announced the box coming after the first box, which is Rise of Red Skulls coming out in September. And then I heard a...
Was that me?
I heard a sound.
Was that my computer?
Yep.
All right, I got it.
And then in February, apparently, we're getting the next box, which we'll be showing some previews from today that they talked about. And it's Guardians of the Galaxy centric, and the heroes are Rocket and Groot. And that means that we're getting literally 5 new villains in the first box. The month after, we're getting Kang. Then 3 or 4 months later, we're getting 5 more villains. And at that point, I think we'll be at 19 heroes, 19 villains, which is a crazy amount of content compared to what we're saying.
That's great. Right, I mean, I need to get them out because like the whole great thing about this comic book world is that you just have so many options, so many stories are being told constantly. So I like the idea of just having everybody's got to have their hero in the mix, you know. And it's Quicksilver for me. I'm gonna be honest, it's Quicksilver.
Which we've seen
until it's Namor, it's Quicksilver.
Until it's.
So you get to really once your hero is here, you get to really latch on there.
I was obviously fortunate because I think my top 2 Marvel superheroes are Captain America and Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And Spider-Man was first, and Captain America was the first hero pack. So I've been living the dream. Hulk is a close third, and then Thor ranks kind of 4th, 5th for me. I'm really excited about Hulk. That's next week.
Do you have any underground superheroes you're really digging? Like the Wasp Ant-Man type or the Quicksilver type?
So I really like Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, you do.
I really like Spider-Woman. And there was another one that it's like... I also really love Rocket and Groot. In the movies,
nice.
They're 2 of my favorite characters. And we'll be showing those off. So there's a lot of characters, I would say, that are not to me, Spider-Man and Cap are iconically around my whole life, and then all the new stuff super exciting to me. So I'm pumped about that.
That's a good
Black
place
Widow's
to be.
Also on. Anyways, you ready to start talking about some of these?
Let's talk about it.
All right,
welcome everybody. Hey, how you doing? It's Monday. What's going on? What's new? Anything new in the world? Too much, probably. Too much.
I
Check
think
the
this
news every
weekend,
morning.
there's just so much going on all weekend because of Gen Con that people were just living the dream all weekend.
We saw you guys saw the in-flight report probably. I watched some of that actually today, if you can believe it or not. I watched some of that today. Saw that Descent was happening at the very end there.
Kind of saw it.
The box looked great.
It's a giant box.
Looked great. And also Descent is a fun style of game that really needs more support. I was hoping, I know it's not going to be this soon, but I know Horvath was talking about new Imperial Assault stuff.
Yeah.
In our interview with him at Gamma, but I presume that's a ways off. Yeah.
That's a game I've actually been thinking about because after that interview with Steve at Gamma, which is worth watching if you haven't seen it, if you want to look into kind of how Asmodee is viewing the world these days, it was right pre-pandemic, so a little different, but ultimately it's talking about Imperial Assault still being in print, and I was like, it would actually be kind of fun to run through an Imperial Assault campaign on stream at some point. So
it would be super fun.
You never know. If they gave us a good reason to do it, that'd be fun.
Nathan Rightly mentioning Crisis Protocol dropped a bomb this weekend with X-Men. Now talk about a company that's churning out all the heroes you might want.
So
they're not stopping.
In my mind, I think that Crisis Protocol / Atomic Mass was easily the most successful publisher of Gen Con weekend.
Yep.
in terms of like the hype generated, the excitement. They revealed X-Men, they revealed She-Hulk, they revealed Daredevil. They were like, it was just like a who's who, and everyone was. I couldn't be on the internet without like seeing people talking about that game. The excitement's real.
I really love seeing it because they're just sticking to the brand and the promise that they made early on. It's like, we're making this for hobbyists. We want these models to look great. There's a game as well that's super fun, but we just want to get this out into the world, these high quality models of all of our favorite heroes across and villains across the entire genre. It's like, all right, well, pump on.
And they're just rolling. Yeah,
and here comes the X-Men.
They're
right?
rolling. But at the same time, Champions revealed a whole lot of content. They just didn't reveal X-Men. X-Men is probably like, it's in its own category. When I said favorite Marvel superheroes, X-Men's not even in my brain.
It is. It's in a different category, universally.
It's so big, it's its own category. And
Yeah.
so Champions, I believe in an interview, they said that X-Men were definitely coming, but obviously nowhere in sight in this product plan.
Caleb did say they were coming. Apparently, so
You can imagine, like, if that's 6, 9, 12 months from now, let's say even say next Gen Con, they're like, all right, here's all the X-Men. Everyone's going to lose their mind because that's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
I will. Andrew Belk on Facebook saying, hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hey, Andrew, thank you so much. Glad you're enjoying the content. We have heard, Thomas, about the new vampire game from Renegade. That's an interesting one that's coming out as well. We'll take a look at that if we get a chance. And then William McCartney, and then we'll dive into it. Hey, guys, I've been watching since the beginning of quarantine, and I thought I had a content subscription. I changed that today when I realized that I wasn't. I love the content. Well, that's so nice. Thank you, William McCartney. He's talking about content subs, $20 a month. Just goes right to Covenant to keep us doing this.
On the
We've been
air.
doing the daily streams every day, and it really helps.
It really does. It means the world to us, and the whole team thanks you for signing up and supporting us in such a direct way. You ready to dive in?
Let's go.
All right, first up, we get Scott Lang, of course, also known as Ant-Man, but Scott Lang's alter ego, 3 recovery. He's a civilian, is his trait. He has a hand size of 6. He has 12 hit points. That's pretty solid.
Okay.
And he has an ability called Time to Unwind. Response, after you change to this form, heal a damage from Scott Lang. So he gets a free point of recovery basically every time he flips down.
That seems good. I mean, you pretty much don't need downtime with that one, do you? What's his hit points, 12?
12. That's pretty good.
Okay, 12 is fine.
I went on we created on the Marvel Champions DB a Team Covenant account to put all our decks on. So I was trying to get some of my older decks on there, and one of them is the Spider-Man protection build. And I kind of waxed poetic in the description about
It's easy to do that, isn't it?
about how good
It's
Aunt
fun.
May is.
Yeah.
Like, she's like
It's unbelievable.
unbelievably good. This reminds me of that, in that like anytime you're recovering without having to exhaust any amount of health, that's a really good value. So every time he flips down, this means to me he probably wants to flip up, take some damage, flip down, heal, back and back and back and back.
Makes a lot of sense. I want to hit with Mutton Chop here. Can you give an update on what Jonathan and Robert have been up to during COVID? Robert is in the shipping room right now, shipping orders. That's kind of been his thing, and working on some bigger ops projects. And then Jonathan is at his house in rural Oklahoma, where I believe he's not left really for many months.
Hunkered down.
And so
They-
I worry
they're
for
with
his sanity.
They had a child not too long before all this,
Yeah.
so they're in that stage of life.
They got
as
a
well.
baby. They're on the land. I'm trying to get out there. We should be out there in the next couple of months. I did successfully buy about 12 acres off of Jonathan.
Hey, that's a
and his
big
wife.
deal. You bought some land. You're
I
a
bought some land.
landowner
I
in
do
America.
own land now. Now I'm trying to work on getting electric and septic and well dug and all of that. Really doing the homestead thing and doing a container home, a single container. So it's been an awesome process. But meantime, Jonathan has been out there designing, running the pop system, designing that. Bryce is also in Claremore here, another rural little town here in Oklahoma. He's on the production most days, actually controlling the pops from computer. We've got a whole system that Jonathan designed, and I don't know how it works, and I don't need to know.
It's a black box, man.
That's
stuff
right.
goes in, stuff comes out the other side, and it's just great.
So they're all doing well. Yeah, they're all doing very well.
So back to the previews. Scott Lang.
It's just Scott
So
Lang, right?
It's solid,
Standard
but
here.
the
3
most-
recovery.
The most interesting thing is, so it's Ant-Man and then Wasp are coming out. Those are the next 2 heroes. So we're getting Rise of Red Skull, and then Kang, and then Ant-Man, Wasp. The most notable thing is actually how they're dealing with their hero sides.
They're doing there's a conspiracy. It's like there's a whole thing on Facebook. I know. Now hold on. Hold your surprise. People are upset on Facebook.
People were talking.
People were talking. People were
What
talking.
are they upset about?
The Foldy cards. We don't like the Foldy cards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it.
So, for context on what Foldy cards means, Ant-Man and Wasp thematically, if you haven't seen the movies or read the comics, they have these like suits that allow them to shrink or expand. So then like Ant-Man can be giant or he can be tiny like an ant. He's an Ant-Man. Wasp is the same thing. A little wasp flying around or normal sized or bigger or whatever size they want to be. So what they've done is, we'll go ahead and go to the tiny Ant-Man card. Ant-Man Tiny is what it's called for those popping it up.
So that's literally just a tiny ant, essentially?
So this is, it's him in his like tiny form.
Like how big on the table would Ant-Man
I mean,
be?
like,
have you
so
seen the movies? I presume
He
that has
like
him
it's
in.
like ant size,
Like this
like
big?
little bitty.
Like-
So like he can sneak into places.
Okay, yeah.
But he's really strong, like an ant.
Yeah, that seems really
So then,
impressive.
like, someone will be putting their hand down and he'll like stop the hand or something. But he's got to like run under shoes and across, tables and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, ant stuff, basically. You get
And
into some
what they're
sugar
also
as well?
doing, I haven't even read the card yet, but yeah, that's right. There's also the Ant-Man giant
Let
version.
me see the giant version.
So you can see in the picture here, he's like way bigger than a car. But apparently this is like, if you had two cards that were this card, it's like it's folded, and on one side here, let me get this.
Do we have any of the Transformers foldies?
It's just like Transformers, except for a normal size card.
Do you have
So
any available around it? We got a box
Got
over
that
here.
box?
All right, you think there's foldies in there?
Definitely.
Okay, I'm gonna open that.
We're gonna open. So basically, on one side you have the card, and then on the other, so this would be like his alter ego, and then on the other side you'd have his tiny version, and then if you open it up, on the back side is going to be the giant version. So Steven's gonna open up a booster pack of Transformers.
Do little Transformers.
I'm gonna get in on this while I
forgot
can.
how comically
yeah,
large
these
these packs are.
it's like this is like the Ant-Man of booster
R.I.P.,
packs.
R.I.P.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. R.I.P.
Rip indeed. All right, hold on.
What did Bog say? Bog's even. What did Bog say? Bog said on stream they were fans of the Transformers cards. Okay, well then let's find one.
Yeah. So let's see if we can get one in my booster pack. Nope, didn't get one.
Okay, keep going.
Oh man, that's a rat. Fangry. Look, it's like a Transformers rat.
Oh, that actually looks really cool.
Did
Oh
you
wait,
get
here's
one?
some.
Nope.
Here's you got a head on the back.
Yeah, that's the new thing.
Are you sure there's foldies in here? I don't
Maybe
want to waste
not.
all this time. What does it say?
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm gonna open one more. See if we
Okay.
can get a Foldy.
It says.
Oh
two...
no, only Rise the Combiners has the
Oh,
Foldies.
okay, yeah, because the combiners.
Okay, so you get the idea though, and some people don't like the Foldy
Packs are
cards.
huge.
Now,
Look at this.
the thing I would say
Thank you.
is a lot of people are afraid it's going to wear down and rip. Two things to say to that are at least hopefully a little bit reassuring is the Transformers cards that do that, I've had none tear. They have sleeves that are like normal, that are that sized, that you can slot one in this way and like it fits the card perfectly. So that prevents a lot of the like wear because it's not like there's not weight happening on it. But even if it did tear, I mean, the interesting thing to me is like in Pokemon, I know there's literal Pokemon that go together and they're just two separate cards. So it doesn't much, you literally have these two sides that you can flip between and then you can fold out to like giant mode. Although now saying it makes me...
Are Ant-Man and Wasp going to be the only ones that do that?
Probably. I mean, unless you have another hero or villain that's like gigantic.
Or we're going to have to make, a Cosmic Board.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
And I realized that like, hey, we need a double-sized cosmic board.
Huh. I wonder how that would look.
Big.
Interesting. I got a solution. Big.
Giant. It's like those Focus Token Pluses from the Star Wars LCG.
Okay.
Anyways, so let's look at the actual cards. We'll go back to Ant-Man Tiny. He's got 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 defense. That's a decent stat line.
I love heroes with 2 thwart.
He's got a hand size of 5, so that's not bad. And he's got Puny Pest. Response: after you change to this form, remove a threat from a scheme.
Yeah, that's great.
So he flips
Come in
down,
with
heals
3
1,
threat.
he flips up and threats. And I
100%.
assume his giant form is going to do a free damage when he flips over.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
also an Avenger and Tiny.
Okay.
For
so
what
you
that's
can
worth.
have tiny cards in the future, which
That's
would
right,
be
only
cool.
tiny people can use.
Yeah.
And then we get Ant-Man Giant, and it says Giant Nuisance. Response: after you change this form, deal a damage to an enemy. He's got a 3 attack with a 3 defense. So he's obviously not as good at thwarting, and he's way better
What's the
at...
hand size on that one?
hopefully.
4?
Yeah.
Probably?
Just, it's a 4. Although I would expect his hand size to be huge.
Look at these
Giant
hands. Yeah, 4 hands. Okay, that makes sense. So he goes to 5 in the small mode, 6 in alter ego, and then 4 in big mode. Yeah, that all makes sense. You
Right
can
down the
see
line.
you can see too how they value damage and threat accordingly.
Yeah.
So like ultimately you're looking at 3 threat removed on his tiny and then 4 damage done on Ant-Man large. So that's kind of in
3
line
to
with
4.
what we kind of had put together.
But like thematically, what you want these characters feeling like, and it makes total sense, right? Is like Literally, it goes from Scott Lang being there. He's this giant thing doing damage, and then he flips back down to Scott and recovers, and then he flips over to Tiny and thwarts.
And then thwarts,
and he's just going back and forth the whole game between these modes.
Well, that's going to be a fun way to play, regardless of how you feel about the cards. That seems awesome as an extra option in your transform step.
I think, thematically speaking, that's incredibly on point.
Can they go to any form they want, do we know?
When they're flipping over, you get to pick a form.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah,
I
which
like
is
that
really
a
cool.
lot. Yeah, and so you can wonder recover. Yeah, that makes sense.
Always in the movies, right? When they go tiny, they're usually thwarting in some way, right? Like sneaking around the bad guys' thing and listening to them, and they don't know they're there, and they're gaining all kinds of secrets and stuff. Of course. And then we get Pym Particles, which is his resource card.
Nice art style there. That reminds me of that old school Batman animated series.
It does. You got that Bruce Wayne jog.
Or even Samurai Jack at a certain point.
I mean,
I love
same like lineage, right?
Yeah.
Hero response: after you spend this card, heal 2 damage from a hero if you are in giant hero form, or draw a card if you are in tiny hero form.
Okay, so nothing for Scott though.
So
hero response. Okay.
It's a hero response. You have to be in hero mode, but after you spend it, so you use it as a wild, then you get a heal 2 damage from your hero card, and then you either draw a card. You draw a card or heal.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we've seen resources that trigger effects.
Which is cool.
That's amazing. That actually makes me wish that although Vibranium at 2 makes a lot more sense actually. It's just money. It's just a ton of cash.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing that we've opened up then.
But then it's like which form you're in is going to have more relevance than just the direct ability of that hero, right?
Oh my God, that is strong though.
Yep.
You get a free first aid for spending money, for spending a resource?
Yep.
Whew. Okay. Bring it on.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's super good.
Yeah, that's a super good card.
But again, it's also a dead resource when you're in alter ego. So if that is relevant for any reason, right? It's like you can always spend it before you flip down or flip up to spend it. But like if you're down in alter ego trying to not take a bunch of damage from a villain or something, it's just it's literally a blank card. Needing to sneak down.
Here's my theory since you asked. I think that over time what we've seen happen is the designers have been leaning harder into the interesting decisions of hero mode or alter ego mode. We're seeing a lot less universally use this whenever.
Yeah.
And like Thor is a good example of this compared to like Captain America, where one of your resource cards can only be used in hero mode, and then some of your stuff can only be used in alter ego mode, whereas Cap is like that serum is just always on, right? So I think some of the early heroes were more universally valuable cards, and now we're seeing more like, well, you got to make a decision. Are you alter ego? Are you hero? What have you?
But because it's not as universally valuable, you can lean into allowing those cards to be a little more powerful.
They should be a little more powerful.
And that's ultimately, I think, the kind of complaint of like Thor versus Captain America's resource card as an example. Where like technically, I guess with a lightning strike, those lightnings do more for Thor than they would for Cap. But like
technically
in this case, right, this or a super soldier serum, it's like I think there's a really good case for either or, right? I don't think either is strictly better. Cap's resource is always a good resource.
Yeah.
But like sometimes this is going to be perfect.
And yeah, as rightly said, you can always just spend it in alter ego mode too. It's just a wild resource.
Yeah,
so,
which is it's not a completely.
There are worse
card.
things in the world.
All right, let's get to Nadia Van Dyne, also known as the Wasp. But Nadia, you can see that little Spider-Man plush on her desk, which is funny. 3 recovery, hand size of 6, 11 hit points, and she's got the ability Girl, G period, I period, R period, L period, action.
G-I-R-L.
Girl, action, shuffle up to 2 cards with a permanent mental resource from your discard pile into your deck, limit once per round.
That's a fascinating ability because it's not immediately useful.
No, but you can load up your deck with specific kinds of cards, and also every time you go down, you're delaying the time period it's going to take for you to run out.
That's true. Your extra encounter cards are less
so
likely.
Like she's going to, if particularly when you're playing against a villain that isn't like super quick, it's like if it's like the sloggy, like those Ultron games that we played that seem to go 10, 15 turns, she can very much stack a deck and also delay, if it prevents 2 encounter cards a game.
That's pretty solid.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's really solid. And I think if you have, especially given her signature cards, right? So if all of her signature cards that are really awesome are those mental resources, you can play them and just keep seeing them, which I expect is going to be her thing. And that's going to be awesome if those cards are good enough.
Yeah.
I would love it, like, first if I could reshuffle Hammer Throw in the deck with Thor. Right?
Yeah, and like as your deck's getting thinner, it's getting more and more full of those kind of cards.
Full of the best cards. Yeah.
So that's a cool mechanic, and it's also like anything that you like Ant-Man's when he flips down, he recovers 1, but you only get that once. This is the case where when she flips down, she gets it that turn, and then she gets it the next turn before she goes up.
Yep.
So that's pretty good utility. Even putting 4 cards back into your deck when you're down to like 15, 20 cards
That's true. Yeah,
Is-
she'll get to do that twice, won't she?
is a pretty big game changer.
What's the flavor text on her there?
It says, girl is dedicated to finding brilliant women who will not only save the world, but change it.
Fantastic. Yeah, you got to do the first one, do the second one. That's for sure.
That's right. All right, we get Wasp Tiny. I like that pose.
Tiny Wasp. Yeah.
1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 defense. Small but mighty. Response after Wasp or an event you play defeats a minion or side scheme. Deal a damage to the venue.
All right, so we see the new
Villain.
templating here. It's been unveiled. We're getting around the U problem by just adding extra text. I don't know if that's exactly how you should be doing it, but basically it's now having to have qualifiers to say, well,
After Wasp or an event you
or
play.
an event that you play. Yeah, because it used to be that would all qualify at some point in the game, and then that kind of changed, and all the events got a little worse. Good example of this, like Battle Fury. I'm running into this with Thor. When you attack and defeat a minion, stand up, and it's like, I can't use Relentless Assault for those kinds of things sometimes, or maybe you
seems
can,
crazy.
or I don't know. You know?
Who knows? Question marks abound.
So there's situations where it's nice to just go ahead and clean this up, and I'm glad that they're doing that.
Yeah, because like technically, if you had Hawkeye out shooting arrows for you, it wouldn't trigger.
It would not trigger that. No.
But if you have something like an event that does 1 to all the stuff, like this could very easily stack up and do a lot of damage. I'm curious to see her signature card pool.
Yeah. So is she can trigger that any number of times?
Any number of times. But it's based on defeating a minion or a side scheme.
Or a side scheme.
So
You're gonna have to play clever.
she's going to be really good at Justice.
You're gonna have to play clever. So like if you can get your friends to get all the side schemes to like 1 left, and then you can do 4 or 5 damage, that's sick.
Yeah, could be really strong.
Jarnbjorn, yep, good advice there.
And then, of course, we get Giant Wasp.
Max
2
heal.
2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense. That's an incredible stat line. But the attack and thwarts each have a special text. When you thwart your move using your basic thwart power can be divided among schemes as you choose.
Love that.
Damage you deal using your basic attack can be divided among enemies as you choose.
Yeah,
Super good.
perfect.
Nothing too crazy.
I wish she had that with the tiny ability.
Well, of course you do.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that
But
be good?
here's the thing, though, right? Is she could literally queue up a bunch of things, doing the 1 ability, flip down. The next round she's going to flip into tiny mode, and then
do a ton of damage.
do a ton of damage for free.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Good
Very
card.
cool.
Very good card.
All right, you ready to get to your man?
Pietro?
Pietro Maximoff, 3 recovery, 6 hand size, 9 hit points. So he's
Exactly.
a little fragile,
Perfect.
but he better be fast. Superpowered siblings, action, discard 2 cards from your hand, draw 2 cards. Draw 3 cards instead if Wanda Maximoff is in play. Limit once per round.
Ooh, isn't that great?
So you discard 2, draw 2 is filtering, but if Wanda is in play, then he's going to get a card.
And that is a top-notch ability. Even just discard 2, draw 2, I would take that every day of the week. Now, this does mean I've heard apparently on the stream itself. I only looked at the cards afterwards, but I've heard that every one of these cards that does this kind of effect has that ally also in the signature deck. So even if you don't have a friend at the table who's playing it, you play the ally Wanda, and now you get the access to that ability.
And it's in the signature deck?
I think so.
That kind of hurts my soul a little bit.
I think it's a signature ally. Yeah, so if you are playing with a friend, then,
Now you have a card
It's a
that's-
free resource.
Can't do much. Okay, well, that's a good
But, like,
ability.
imagine, because you have to have that mechanic, because if that ability is always discard 2, draw 3 throughout the entire game, having 1 dead card in your deck is, like, not a problem.
Yeah.
I assure you.
It's totally fine.
Because, like, that is an unbelievably bonkersly good ability,
Yeah.
straight up.
That's fair. And I do like the idea that, like, I can picture heroes in that same vein of, like, if Iron Man's in play, and you have the hero version, so if someone's playing that character, it's really good. But
Yeah.
you also have the ally version to get them on the table. So
Yeah.
super cool. Let's see what the hero side says. It's Quicksilver. 1 attack, 1 thwart, 1 defense.
How bad.
Come on, how weak. Hand size of 5. Super speed. Response. After you use one of Quicksilver's basic powers, thwart, attack, or defense, ready him. Limit once per phase.
It's just so good.
Attack, ready, attack.
It's just
End
so
of that
good.
phase, you ready? Block, ready.
It's just
Super
so
good. He can play justice,
just
he
so
can play
good.
aggression, he can play protection, he can play leadership.
At a 4-player table, he can get all 3 of the static boosts and just go.
That's the real
2, 2,
trick.
2 down the line.
You really want someone playing justice or aggression or protection, or at least 2 of those on the table when he's playing. Because if he gets 2 defense and also gets a 2 in one of those other things, He's crazy.
What just an absolutely great ability to have, right? And then you look at the defense stuff you're doing with Spidey. If like every time you use your defense, you stood up naturally.
Yeah.
Now you've got the expert defenses and those kind of things. You don't even need the tenacity and the other card that you always play.
There's desperate defense, and then there's the upgrade, the 1-cost upgrade where you're ready after you defend. So I mean, the thing about that though is that I love is you're starting to see various heroes playing the same aspect in a different way. I was even looking at Black Widow protection this weekend.
What is once per phase? That's worth knowing.
Yeah, and it's like she's got the synth suit where it's like after she defends, she can ready if she has a synth suit up. And so like Indomitable, I think, is the 1-cost upgrade that after you defend, you ready. And it's like, well, that's a little less good here.
Yep.
And she also doesn't draw a card every time she gets attacked, like Spider-Man does. So like Get Behind Me is not as effective for her. But here is the kind of thing where you have a natural double hit is super good.
But it's also great because if you get hit with like exhaustion, then you're just worthless, completely worthless.
Don't get exhausted.
It's great, but that makes sense, right? You don't run too hard, but it is once per phase, so at least you can't do the shotgun style chainsaw, and you can't use the attack and the thwart stand in the same phase.
Yeah, by the way, he's gonna be great at blocking minions.
Yeah, it's so true.
When you have like a couple 1s or 2s down.
Is there a retaliate upgrade that we have yet, like Black Panther or Cap Shield? Man, if we do,
not generically.
Quicksilver, maybe it'll be in the signature cards.
Perhaps it will.
I love that ability so much.
Yeah, it's just generically good, right? All right, then he gets an event, which I think you'll love from your
Of
Netrunner
course I
days.
will.
1-cost event, always be running. It's a lightning resource, energy resource. It's number 2.
It's like Adam.
Yep, hero action, ready Quicksilver.
You gotta love that, right?
Come on now.
There's gonna be so many awesome things you can do with this hero.
Yeah.
There's gonna be so many awesome
I mean,
things
he can clear out minions. He can get threat off, but he also pairs well with like Wasp, actually, who wants to be able to like take out a couple of things. He can like queue them up, right? If
Yeah,
he's got
he
like
can just
2
queue
and
them
there's
up.
a 3s
Yeah.
out, it's do.
Yeah,
It
it's
just
true.
clears them up.
Man, I love that. There's gonna be so many different ways to string together. Either you build it static, or you have a lot of attack events that require you to exhaust to use, and you can continue to do that. Put a weapon on him, mean swing, stand up. It's the Thor dream, right? It's like there's just so many different things that you can do.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
He
I'm
seems
so
very
ready.
versatile. He also feels very different than any hero we've played so far, which I love. Like we're still at that layer.
Kind of glass cannon-y. Perfect. Looks like he's got the blue, which I love blue. He's also got like an old version of me with hair.
Yeah. If your hair turned white and you had hair, we would be there. All right, let's get to the character I'm super excited about. In red, no surprise here, Wanda Maximoff.
We get to play red and blue, too?
I know, it makes sense,
gosh.
right? It was built for us.
You
And the
kidding me?
2-player team, we're ready. 3 recovery. She's a mystic. Hand size of 6, hit points of 10. Superpowered siblings, action, discard 2 cards from your hand, draw 2. Draw 3 instead of Petro is in play, limit once per round.
Yeah.
So both of these characters are just going to be, we're going to be living the dream.
We're gonna feel better than ever in this game.
Just super powered.
What's her ability? Oh, it's the same one.
It's the same one. It's the exact same ability.
Okay.
And he's in
oh
play.
my gosh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just tag team. It's ready to go. Also, it makes sense. We play 2-player a lot. Read pretty much every time we play right now because of isolation. So having these pairs, like Ant-Man and Wasp, and then Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, that are built for each other, is like super exciting.
Yeah.
When you're playing a ton of 2-player, and I know a lot of people play 2-handed solo as well.
Yeah, it's great in 2-handed solo.
That makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Scarlet Witch, Avenger,
Awesome art.
Mystic. Yeah, I love
Fantastic
that.
art.
I can't tell you how much I love it.
What's the hand size?
2 thwart, 5 hand size, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 defense, Avenger, Mystic. She has an ability called Chaos Control. Interrupt. When boost icons on an encounter card will be counted, discard the top card of the encounter deck and count the number of boost icons on that card instead. Limit once per phase.
Absolutely love that ability.
Flips a 2 or a 3. We'll take a random chance off the top of the deck, and hopefully it's a 0 or 1.
Or a non-random chance, whether it's like Heimdall or Falcon.
Or maybe she has things that control the
She
top card.
she probably is playing that game. I was surprised. I thought she might be the first one we see with like a 5 alter ego 6 hero hand size, like a Mystic kind of feel. She has Mystic, so all Doctor Strange's stuff that has typically only been with Doctor Strange now
There's
gets
the
more characters.
Sorcerer Supreme card. It's like, I think +1 hand size.
+1 hand
right?
size. Woo!
So like she can play that, which is cool. You start seeing that. We were speculating last week when we were concluding our Wrecking Crew tour about Thor being the one character that has an aerial. His weapon makes him aerial. So then in the future, cards that trigger off of weapon and aerial will get very good for him because he has it built in. Same here, where you have Mystics, and you have this line of cards that are going to be unique to them, which I'm excited about.
All those Mystics will be so cool.
Speaking of mysticism, next
I love this.
is Hex Bolt. It's very simple, but also awesome art. 2-cost event, of course, it's a Scarlet Witch card. Hero action, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. For each card discarded this way that has a boost icon equal to 0, deal 2 damage to an enemy. 1, remove 2 threat from a scheme. 2, draw a card. 3 or more, place a status kick card on a character. You can confuse, you can stun the villain, you can give yourself tough.
You love Hulk for this reason. You like a little insanity in your games, and I think that this is just the perfect hero for that. Just like, well, let's take a long ball. If we hit 2 3s, this game is ours, and it's like, we did it. Well, sometimes it works.
The thing about that, though, is like, it's obviously the penalty of her is that you're discarding cards from the encounter deck. So you're going to get acceleration tokens faster if she keeps, like, cancel this boost icon, discard a card instead. So I'm curious what tools she has to basically kind of like stack that, or what that looks like.
Maybe none. Maybe the benefit is that you get cards like this, and so your curve is just higher than the encounter decks.
Because honestly, like, if you're discarding the top 3, any of these 3 triggered 3 times, like, it's a phenomenal card.
You're going to get 3 effects.
Literally, yeah. Like, if I look at this, it's like I can't think of 3. Like, 3 of any one of them is great. 3 of 3 different ones is also great.
If you could just remove, and most of them are 1 boost in decks, so most of the time you're going to remove 4 to 6 threat for 2.
Yeah.
Makes that what is that Justice card everybody likes for Justice?
Yeah.
Garbage.
Well, of course, this is a signature card. It should be good. All right, let's get to another hero that I'm super excited about. This is another tag team that we're seeing, which is coming in the box. Do you remember the name of the box, the Rocket Groot box?
Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
Guardians
something
of
Destiny.
Fun?
Something
Destiny of Guardian?
I don't know. The
Destinies?
chat will tell us what it's called. But this is Rocket Raccoon. And this is the first time we've seen a alter ego and hero be named the same, because they don't have names that are different.
That is fascinating.
So this is standard Rocket Raccoon. He's got 3 Galaxy's Most Wanted is the name of the box. He's got 3 recovery. He's a genius. He's an outlaw. I love this already. Tinkering.
Galaxy's Most Wanted. Thank you. Twitch on the story here.
They're jamming it. Tinkering action. Choose and discard a tech upgrade you control. Draw 2 cards. So he discards a tech upgrade. We'll see what those look like. And he gets 2 cards. He has a hand size of 6 with 9 hit points.
That's gonna play super fun.
I assume, and then it'll be really fun with Tony Stark using the Stark Towers to get that tech engine going for him. Then we get the hero side of Rocket Raccoon: 2 thwart, 1 attack, 1 defense. He's a guardian, of course, guardian of the galaxy. He has an ability called Murdered You. Response: after you deal excess damage to an enemy, draw a card. 5 hand size.
That's fantastic. I love it.
So he's only got 1 attack, right? But like, now I'm curious.
There's going to be big gun cards, right?
Yeah,
there's going to be all sorts of stuff like that.
He just blows people
now,
up.
Important to note here too, after you deal excess damage to an enemy, so like we're talking about even I think with Overpower, like you're dealing excess damage to an enemy, it happens to be going to the main villain with Overkill. But that still triggers.
Well, he's on the 2-cost
He's on the Relentless Assault card.
Relentless Assault, right? So like, if Relentless Assault ends up being 2 for 5, get rid of a minion and get a card back,
and do some damage to the main villain.
Like,
yeah,
super strong.
That's insanely good. That's insanely good. Yeah, worth noting it's not it's not limited, so you can do that multiple times if you get a chance to attack everybody. Yeah.
Now he does have a natural 1 attack, so his onboard attack is not going to be doing that often. But
happy to see a 2 thwart though. That's really impressive.
I mean, he's a genius. So
you gotta say it.
He's a clever man.
More time.
Now Groot, on the other hand, not so much. But I'm excited to get to him. All right, next we get the Particle Cannon. It's a 3-cost upgrade, of course. Restricted. Enters, so you only have 2 restricted things on, I believe. Enters play with 2 charge counters on it. Hero action, attack, exhaust Particle Cannon, remove a charge counter from it. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. That attack gains overkill and ranged. So it ignores tough.
Is that what it ignores tough? Or does it ignore guard? Or it might ignore guard.
Really?
I think it ignores guard, but that would make not a lot of sense. Hold on, ranged. Let me think about it for a second. I think it ignores guard. Yeah. Right? No, it ignores retaliate. Maybe that's right, because you can't retaliate against something shot at you from a long way away.
That's right. It's way away.
I'm trying to think of theme.
Yeah. Nathan's saying retaliate.
All right, nice. Yeah, we got it. Ignores retaliate. So that's not,
Yeah, but this is built in. It's a 3-cost upgrade. It deals 2 instances of 4 damage, so 3 for 8, and it's got overkill.
Oh, it does it twice.
Yeah.
Oof, that's very nice. I'm thinking that naturally in Galaxy's Most Wanted, or even in Red Skull box, we might see something like Retaliate 2, Retaliate 3. This is how FFG generally works, is like you have answers in your toolbox by the time that you need them.
Yeah, which makes sense. And then
Beautiful.
we get to his partner in crime, which is the alter ego version of Groot.
I'm surprised he didn't have a higher recovery. You know, because trees like grow and stuff.
I'm more surprised about his health, but let's read his abilities. Hand size 6, hit points 10. He's an outlaw as well. Growth spurt, action. Place 2 growth counters on Groot to a maximum of 10. Limit once per round.
Okay, so here's something. So what's that going to do?
We don't know what a growth counter does. I'm sure it's explained somewhere. Let's see if we get it on the hero side of Groot. His
3
art
defense.
is really cool.
Hey, looky there.
3 defense, 1 thwart, 2 attack. Reminds me of a spider. Spider-Man. Flora Colossus, forced interrupt. When Groot would take any amount of damage, remove that many growth counters from him.
That's
For
it.
each growth counter removed this way, prevent 1 of that damage. Hit points 10, hand size 5. So
makes so much sense. So
he
you can
basically
potentially have a 10 damage shield up, is what you're telling me?
yeah, so he, if your first turn you put 2 on, if he flips over, it's kind of like having 12 health.
Yeah.
But if you just wait, right, he's just taking time to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So you could literally be flipping in with like 20 total health.
That's where it's super strong. Second turn, you flip back, trigger the ability. Third turn, trigger the ability, flip back. Now you got a 6 damage shield going into your turn, your hero turn.
Now I wonder.
Super solid.
And it's a forced interrupt. So if you have the growth counters, you have to spend them.
Okay, so you had to get chopped down.
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer because like if you can flip over with 2 counters on, take 4 or 5 damage, flip back, recover, put 2 more counters on. But when the cool thing is, it's kind of like that ability I was saying earlier with Wasp, which is Nadine. Or Nadia. When you flip down, you get to use it, and you get to use it before you go back.
Yeah.
So you can flip
Those are
down,
important.
recover 4, get 2 counters, flip over, and he's kind of like a 14 health character.
It's kind of like an 8 damage heal at that point for going down to alter ego.
Notably, you prevent the damage. So any of the like protection cards that trigger off of not taking damage.
Do you run them with 3 energy barriers?
Yep.
Just
and like the
see ya.
unflappable, which is when you don't take damage, you can exhaust it to draw a card. Because he's going to be very hard to hit.
That's really good. And he's got a good 3 defense anyway. He's right in the protection pocket. You also, any of the effects that say if you take damage, you're stunned, or if you take damage, you're confused, can be good against those.
Yeah.
Very strong. I love that. I love that a lot.
And then this is one of the funny things. I don't know. I just heard it. I don't know if it's true or how true it is. But apparently, every event in his signature pool is called "I Am Groot," because
apparently there's one called "We Are Groot,"
and
the rest are "I Am Groot."
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Because that's all he says basically is "I am Groot." So the one we have here is "I Am Groot," a 2-cost event, hero action, or hero action attack. Deal damage to an enemy equal to the number of growth counters on Groot. So that could be a 2 for 10.
Yes.
That's crazy.
That's so good. It's like a super gamma slam. That's incredible.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
I
incredible.
love that so much. I love them exploring, and it makes sense because Groot is like.
Is this the one card that you get like 9 of, or is?
I think it does different stuff.
Oh, cool.
It's just like you're like I am Groot.
Oh, that's gonna be a disaster for our
That's
stream.
what I was saying. It's got to be like we have to number it. It's like I am Groot. This is number 5. I am Groot 5.
Or I am Groot damage. I am Groot thwart.
When you're playing at the table, though, it's so thematic because it's like the Groot character only says I am Groot. So like if you're playing as Groot, you're literally saying all the time. It's like I'll play I am Groot. I'll play I am Groot.
I am Groot.
I am Groot.
I am Groot. That's really funny.
It's so good. I
like
really
that
like
Haster thing in Arkham.
Yeah, don't say it. He who shall not be named. But what I really like about this is, again, you see them exploring from a design element, rewarding different things. In this example, rewarding you not going to hero mode.
Yeah.
So there are cards that are like make you want to be patient, even if you need to flip over into hero mode, and then it happens to thematically be very strong because like Groot a lot of times doesn't do anything, and then like he's very important when he actually steps into the ring.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I love that.
Now we get some neutral cards.
I like Groot a lot.
Yeah, Groot's cool. I am Groot. Order and Chaos.
Hey, it's
Speaking of
Quicksilver.
Netrunner, a 1-cost event. Team up Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Max 1 per deck.
So wait, are you telling me maybe all of Quicksilver's cards are named after Netrunner cards? Because we've already seen Always Be Running and Order and Chaos.
That would be.
Wouldn't that be something?
I mean, that smells of bogs. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Man,
I got some bog smells going on in the room.
Actually, a reasonable sentence, even without Boggs the human. Smells of bogs. It's a little swampy in here. It smells like standing water.
That is, I mean, it does. It smells a box. Anyways,
It's quite funny.
Order and Chaos team up. So I assume team up means that you have to be running these heroes. They have to be in the game to
They
even
probably
be in
both
your
have
deck.
to be out.
Which again, as a two-player duo here, I love it. I think this is great. Hero
And remember,
interact-
the ally will count too. So solo players, or if you don't have any of your friends at the table, or if they're not playing one of the other characters, then you will still have the opportunity to play these.
But you can't play this card unless they're both in play, I guess.
Yeah, that would be my guess. You have to have the ally
That makes
version
sense.
of the thing, and then so Quicksilver would have to have what Wanda, who was it that was out, the Maximoff
Wanda.
or whatever. So if I had the ally out, I think I can play this. If you have it as a hero, then I can always
Then we
play
can
this.
definitely play it.
Yeah.
It's one per deck. Hero and up. When a treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effects, then deal 2 damage to the villain. Cancel when revealed and deal 2. That's like,
Now this is what I've been talking about. Everyone's talking about Black Widow like it's something worth playing. This is a card worth playing. You know what I'm saying?
this is a card worth
But
playing.
also, one per deck drives me insane. This drives me insane.
In a cooperative game, I'm fine with it.
One per deck. Come on.
Because like,
get that out of
obviously,
here.
this is.
Balance the card. Let me have 2.
But like, are you offended with Avengers Mansion being one per deck,
Oh no, I guess that's fine.
or?
But that's like
any of the
that's like a
allies?
unique thing. This is an event. Come on, Order and Chaos can only
Also,
happen once.
by the way, Order definitely being Quicksilver and Chaos definitely being Scarlet Witch is also exactly how we've played every game we've ever played.
That's how we live our lives.
Just need a little chaos in here. Swarm Tactics, 1 cost event, team up Ant-Man and Wasp, max 1 per deck. Hero action, change to your other hero form, ready your hero.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's insane, actually.
It's incredibly good.
That's that Wasp we were talking about earlier, where Giant Wasp can deal damage divided. And then you can play this card to ready and flip to Tiny Wasp, and then use her ability
There you
to
go.
clear
That's
the
the
fence,
end,
or
yeah.
she
If you get
removes
the one of-
threat. Well, two characters are going to have it.
That's true. That's true. That's very true.
Team building exercise.
Oh, this card is so good.
fantastic. Also, anytime we get art with Miles Morales, Spider-Man on it, I'm all about it. I love that black and red. You can imagine.
Hey, really? What a surprise.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
shocker.
have taken you for that one.
2 cost support, hero action, exhaust team building exercise. Play a card from your hand that shares a trait with your hero, reducing its resource cost by 1.
Eventually, we're going to see this really pay dividends. So, like Mystic, obviously, could probably make use of this if you have enough Mystic traded cards. We were even talking about Thor.
I think he's the current hero with the most usability here. Asgard.
Asgard cards.
Tons of
that's
Asgard
right,
cards.
Yeah. And it's a 2 cost. This could open up some Thor tactics here, particularly if we see more of those Valhalla cards. But rewarding specific traded decks, I think, is a really cool thing for the game.
Yeah, and I think it makes, you were totally spot on, I think, from a design perspective. It seems like a lot of the early heroes are more generically useful stuff.
Yeah.
And the longer we go, it's like getting way more pinpointed in.
Yeah, so there's probably, I mean, you know, in some world there's probably the Asgard team building Thor, and then in another world there's the minion killing Thor that's maybe different. And so I like to see that you could take the same hero and have stratification basically across the different things that are possible.
Yeah. And I also love, like, with our Heroic series of games, we've been playing pretty much every scenario in Heroic. Today we're playing the last one that we haven't done yet, and I feel like we're being challenged to deck build more cooperatively than we ever have. To actually make it past the villains.
To do well, yeah.
And one thing I really like about the team up cards, regardless of the limit 1 restriction, is like I could easily picture a Cap Iron Man, Ricochet Blast. You have the team up cards with Thor and Cap sharing hammer and axe stuff going on, and like throwing the hammer off of the shield.
Yeah.
And you just have those kind of moments, and like the more, that's what I think Christ Protocol does a good job of creating, is like those moments specifically.
Yeah.
So I'm totally with it here.
Avenger is going to be a trait that probably you have to share a trait with your hero. Yeah. So Avenger's a big one. I mean, that's
Yeah, 'cause
obviously obvious.
All the Avengers, or honestly any of them. So Avengers, I assume we'll get the Defenders. I assume we'll get like when we get X-Men, is there going to be a mutant trait? And so you have all the allies that are good with. So this will work like immediately from like a Captain America perspective when you're Avenger and you have all the Avenger allies. So
Team building exercise, Avengers Tower. You know, we got a build going here. You
we're
can't
getting there.
chat rightly saying you can't have more than one. I think it's gonna be a hard card to run more than one of. I think it's like getting a deck that has every turn the ability to get -2 to a card that matches their hero. I think is gonna be very difficult. But maybe you do. Maybe it's possible.
Why can't you have more than one?
You can. I'm just saying I don't think it'll necessarily be common to run a lot of these, because once you have one on the table, I think that's about maximum efficiency you're usually going to find.
Because you can't use 2 of them on the same play.
You can, I think, right? I think you could.
It says exhaust it, play a card from
Oh,
your hand.
yeah, you couldn't. Yeah. So can you reliably do that twice every hand of the game? Isn't it worth 2 and a card to actually open that possibility up? Probably not. So I would say you're probably going to run one or 2 if it's really important to your deck.
Yeah. Which I like the variance in the type of resource cards we're getting. From Quinjet to Avengers Mansion to this, it's just all very different.
Wakanda, maybe? Does Black Death have a lot of Wakanda stuff? Those early signature pools just didn't trade out their cards very effectively.
I'd have to look. I don't really remember. Surely Wakanda Forever is Wakanda traded, right?
Well, it has
Black
to be.
Panther's not there. He's going to be in the box of mini heroes.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go to the next one.
Wakanda Forever, I can't argue with that.
That's right. Next we get Warlock. He's 3-cost protection ally with the X Factor trait. He's got it where it counts. 1 fort, 1 attack, 3 health. Action, spend a mental resource, heal up to 2 damage from Warlock. So he's a 3 for 3 health doing 1/1/1/1. But you can spend a mental resource and heal 2 damage from him.
Yeah,
turns
obviously.
any mental into a first aid.
Obviously pretty great with a hero that could put mental resources back into their deck.
Yep. Also pretty good with anything that builds their allies. So particularly if this was protection, someone was playing leadership, you inspire him. All of a sudden it's 2/2, heal 2, 2/2, heal 2. It's super strong.
Yep, 100%.
Plus he looks creepy as all get out. The quote says, Self thinks this is a mistake, but then Self is very young and knows very little.
Is that what is Warlock's thing? Is it Groot related? It looks Groot adjacent, does it not? I mean, from here it looks like a tree. Is it not a tree?
No, he's more like a little
gremlin looking kind of thing?
Machine gremlin looking thing.
Gremlin machine, classic.
Yeah, I'm not sure. A gremlin machine. Don't get any water on it.
Oh, also, yeah, worth noting, heads up on the chat here. Wild Inferno, the spider resource, the genius resource that he automatically generates every turn. Boom, plug it right into Warlock. And you already want to play protection.
Fits right in there.
Builds itself,
Builds itself. You know what I mean?
Builds itself.
All right, then we get a main scheme. This is from the
Technovirus.
Galaxy's
Nice.
most wanted box. I believe it's called the Grand Collection. I assume this is the collector. Main scheme comes in. It needs 20 to advance. It comes in with 4 per player.
Yep. That's a lot.
It needs 10 to advance per player.
So 20 if you're on a 4-player table. It comes in with 16 on a 4-player.
Hero action. Choose to either exhaust your hero or spend 2 resources of any type. Discard a card from the collection to its owner's discard pile.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. So he's going to be stealing cards from us.
Once per player. Yeah, he's the collector.
You see that little bold text? What's that say?
If there are at least 5 cards per player in the collection, or if the stage is completed, the players lose the game.
That's cool. Don't let him collect.
You can't let him collect. So speaking of the collector, this is the collector from the Infiltrate the Museum pack. It says hit points 13 per player, 2 scheme, 1 attack, force interrupt when a player or when a card, player or encounter will be placed into a discard pile from play. Put it face up into the collection instead.
That's amazing. That's going to be such a weird thing. So we've got to constantly discard resources or exhaust heroes to clear the collection, but every time we play cards, it adds to the collection.
Yep.
Well, that just is
Well, every time
exciting.
the cards leave play. Events get worse.
Events get worse.
Allies that don't leave play get better.
Warlock.
Cards that cycle through this get worse. Because like if you're discarding every time you're discarding, he's getting closer to his wing.
And is that will be placed in a discard pile? Wow. Yeah. See you later, Scarlet Witch.
Boost icons, abilities. Yeah. Clear a side scheme. It's going to go to the collection.
From play. What is it? So okay, when a card would be placed into a discard pile from play. Okay, from play. So events don't matter.
Okay, events are fine.
So he's probably going to have things that get rid of your allies, that get rid of your upgrades, get rid of your supports.
That makes sense too, because he's collecting things. So it's things, right? It's allies, it's weapons, it's schemes.
And then he collects them.
And
then he's like, I've got these things.
Now you could use that, like if he had upgrades or schemes that come into play that he's collecting, you can use that to get those not back in the deck.
No, that's true. Give him nothing but garbage.
I doubt that's going to be the case. And that's it. That's our last preview. So
that's amazing.
What's your what are you most excited about?
I mean, it's great. I mean, the obviously everything seems very, very, very heavy on the theme. I think that's where you got to go. The art continues to be fantastic. Collector looks like a brand new scenario that's interesting, different, but still playing to the fundamentals of the game. Going to challenge you to deck build a little different or play a little bit differently. I think all the heroes that we saw were very unique, just in their abilities and the way that they want to play. Obviously, Ant-Man and Wasp, that little package, right? They work together well. You also see Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch that work together really well. And it's funny. I'm surprised. This is the first time I think that we've seen Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch identical alter ego abilities, which is the only thing that I'm like, I wish it would have been a little different. Like Scarlet Witch puts 2 on the bottom, and then Quicksilver discards him because he's a little more reckless or something. But aside from that, I think they all are just awesome. They have me super excited. Rocket and Groot. I mean, come on.
Super pumped. So it's
the underground stuff too. I love the underground stuff.
We're officially there, right?
Yeah,
we have to cover the
done it.
mains. Outside of like X-Men or Fantastic Four, we're kind of to the non-main staple characters.
Yes, I do know that they're twins. I actually did know that. They have the same name. But still, I mean, you could do it a little differently.
So
twins aren't exactly the same. I grew up with twins in school. They were different.
Too. They were very different.
Yeah. Some would put cards on the bottom of the deck.
That's right. Some were just a touch different.
One was more reckless, for sure.
The order of events that we have is this Friday we have the Hulk Hero Pack coming out. So if you're a subscriber, that'll be on the way. If you're in the U.S., you should be getting it Friday, maybe Saturday, for almost everyone. And then after that, the next release we get, which I'm super pumped about, is the Rise of Red Skull. So we get the first campaign, we get 5 new villain scenarios, and that'll be super fun to play through. And then after that, we get Ant-Man, then Wasp, then Quicksilver, then Scarlet Witch. And then we get, Kang, actually, before those heroes. Another scenario pack, which is great.
Raising Kang.
And then after those 4, we get Galaxy's Most Wanted, where we get Rocket, Groot, and also, I think, 5 more villains and another campaign.
We've arrived. I think it's hit critical mass.
And that's all literally in the next, 5 or 6 months. Which is
crazy. Do you think we're seeing a release cycle here? Is this how it's going to work, you think? Like 4 heroes, a scenario, and a big box?
That feels about right. Because that means you get 4 heroes for every 5 or 6 villain/scenarios that you're getting. And I think this game needs to lean a little heavier on the scenarios because I will keep exploring the heroes as cards come out. But at this point, we've beaten every villain that's out on Heroic except for the first stage of Green Goblin, which we're playing today after this stream. And people were asking if we'd seen the Ronin print and play stuff. We have. We're going to be playing that on the. We're going to stop this stream and start the next one.
It's in here. Got
so
it proxied.
we'll be exploring that in the next stream. But I hope that is the normal release cycle, and that's about how fast we're going to be getting the villains, which is good.
We do have some. I heard the in-flight report. They were talking about the campaign and kind of what we know about the campaign. And from what I know and what everybody's saying here, I believe. We're going to be doing market stuff. So you're going to run through a scenario, you're going to get not experience, but money essentially, and then you can buy new cards to put in your deck to go to the next. So it's going to be more. It's going to be more than I thought it was going to be. Which is where I want it to be for sure. I'm
excited to just open it and figure it out.
Just play through it.
Yeah, just play through it. I really
just blind.
There's only so much I want to know about how it even works.
Yeah. That's
Nathan
fantastic.
Talking about it. Well, that's cool. Also worth noting too, if you're unfamiliar, we have a subscription service. You can sign up to automatically receive all these things we're talking about. Actually, you can't right now because we're out of the Hero Pack. I think we have some campaign box subscriptions left, but the Scenario Pack and the Hero Pack subscriptions are gone. But when those are available, if you want, hop on the wait list to be the first to know about it over on the website, and then we're working as hard as we can to get those open. And appreciate everyone who has signed up.
Us up.
It's 100% the reason we can stream Marvel Champions every week, and we really appreciate the support and the trust in us.
Oh, we should tell you what we're doing with Hulk next week. I think we're going to do it. We had a wild idea, courtesy of Bryce. We're going to do what's called a double-decker.
Lots of muscles.
Where Zach and I will both be playing Hulk, just with different aspects. So we'll be able to see, through 2 scenarios, Hulk on all 4 different aspects, but we'll be on the exact same hero, which is technically illegal. But a double Hulk party sounds like the kind of party I'm into.
It's the kind of bash that I'm down for.
That's right.
You know what I mean? James asking any recommendations for a print service for Ronin. We just printed it on the printer here. Don't necessarily have any great ones. Ben Sweeney, this is a nice comment. I'm really glad to hear you saying this. So before this game launched, I signed up for my first subscription. I'd never had one before, but now I can't imagine not having one.
Fantastic. Hey, that's what we want. That's the feedback we're looking for. That's what we want you to feel about everything that you do involving us. We don't want you to ever think about not watching these videos anymore, never think about not subscribing anymore, never think about not using the products anymore, never think about going to a different game store if you're here in Tulsa.
Really never have to think about it.
We want you
Just
to
sit back,
just
relax,
have a
and
great time,
enjoy.
whatever it is that we're doing. So yeah, thanks a lot. We'll cut this one out. Let's come back and let's play some Arkham. Not
Nope,
Arkham.
not Arkham
let's
at
play
all.
some Marvel Champions.
We're going to bounce. We're going to play in Heroic 1
staring at a faraway computer
Hostile
screen.
Takeover with the Ronin set. So we'll be back. We're going to cut this stream and we'll be right back. Stay tuned and stay safe.